Okay, now I think it's good. Here we go. Here. Key participants. Hi, thank you for anyone who's just rejoined. Today's Zoom is a Knowles Zoom in partnership with our alumni department as well as wilderness medicine. Today, Robin Larson, our education director in the wilderness medicine department, will be sharing some Moulage tips and tricks with you in advance of Halloween that hopefully you can use for your costume or for something else, who knows. Um, it should be really fun. It should be about 30 to 45 minutes today, going through different moulage techniques with time to answer your questions at the end. Today, once we start, our chat will be disabled, but you'll be able to ask your questions in the Q&A portion of the Zoom webinar. Graham and Kate are here to help answer your questions today. My name is Heather. I am our alumni relations coordinator here at Knowles. So the emails for this event, as you might recognize my face, came from me. If you have any questions in regards to today's webinar, feel free to email me at alumni@nols.edu so we can answer those questions for you. This will be recorded, as many of you have asked, and the recording will be shared via email to anyone who RSVP'd to this event. Additionally, it will be uploaded to our Knowles YouTube channel, so you can go there to continue to watch it for some time to come. And without further ado, Robin, take it away.
Thanks so much, Heather. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Moulage 101. We're excited to show you how to make some fake wounds for Halloween. Heather and I were brainstorming what would be some fun alumni engagement events, and we're like, this would be a really fun thing to do right around Halloween. So that's why we're here today. My plan is to talk through a little bit about the materials you need to make a variety of different wounds, and then we'll spend some time learning a couple different ways to make injuries, hopefully again for Halloween. Heather, if you want to go to the next slide. Just really briefly about me, my name's Robin. I'm a Knowles Wilderness Medicine instructor and currently the education director for Knowles Wilderness Medicine. And I've been at the school since 2008. And I'm here with April Gustin, who's been with Knowles since 2013 and is our Wilderness Medicine Financial Aid Admissions Officer. And she has agreed to let me moulage her today. So big thank you to you, April. Next slide, Heather. All right, so I want to spend some time going through different materials that you need to make a variety of wounds. I'm going to show you the materials that I'm using, and I'll try and mention some other options that are out there. So the first thing that we're going to need today is fake blood. And I have 3 different kinds of fake blood that I'm going to be using. This stuff is called thick blood. It's sort of like a jelly-like consistency. I have some thin blood, which is more liquidy. And lastly, I have powdered blood, which this stuff you could make a really big mess with, especially if you get water on the powdered blood. These are all from a company called Ben Nye. You can buy it on Amazon. And there are also a variety of other fake bloods out there that you can get. If you're feeling really creative and want to make some fake blood at home for yourself, you can do so by mixing 3 parts of corn syrup, 1 part water, mix that up really well, add a little bit of red food dye, and then you can add cocoa powder, like a spoonful at a time, and that'll help you adjust the consistency of the blood. Yeah, anyway, we're going to use this pre-made blood today. Other things I have here, I have a bruise wheel, which is going to help us get different bruising pigments on April's skin. We also might use another wheel. This one's called the death wheel, which also has a variety of different colors to help make people's complexions look not very healthy. Again, these are both by Ben Nye, and there are a variety of different other bruise makeups out there. Again, take a look, and you can buy all this stuff on Amazon. Let's see, other things that I have. I have an applicator sponge and a little makeup application sponge. So we'll use this one for blood and this one for the bruise wheel, which I'll show you how to use in a minute. I've got a Sharpie marker, which is going to help us add depth to some of our wounds. I have a syringe that I've preloaded with some thin blood, and this is going to help make things look extra bloody, for lack of a better word. Let's see, other things I have here. I have some mole skin, which I'm going to use in a little bit. You can buy this at any like supermarket or drugstore. I have some athletic tape that I'm going to use to hold some things in place. Let's see, I have some sticks or wood chips, which I'm going to use as fake bones. And I'll show you how to do that in a little bit, but any sort of stick or wood chip can work pretty well. And then lastly, I have some gloves so I don't get blood all over my hands. We'll put blood all over you, April. Is that okay? Okay, great. So those are all the materials we're going to be using. And with that, I think we should start learning some application. So Heather, if you want to go to the next slide. So we're going to learn 3 different wounds today. One is going to be how to make a bloody laceration. Then we're going to learn how to make an open fracture. So break in a bone where the bone is sticking out of the limb. And then lastly, we're going to make a big head wound with a missing eyeball. So get excited. With that, Heather, I think you can pull those slides down, and this way people can see a little closer what we're doing. You ready, April?
I'm ready.
Okay, great. So we're going to start with a laceration. And to do that, I'm going to start with a Sharpie marker. And can I grab, we'll go this arm.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to start by just making a line with my Sharpie. And this is going to allow us to get a little bit of extra depth with the wound. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my thick blood, again, which is a pretty thick sort of jelly-like consistency. And I'm going to use the marker here to help me apply it. And if I get it kind of big and thick and gob it on there, with the addition of the Sharpie, it makes it look like a pretty deep, thick wound. And then to add a little more spice here, I'm going to take my syringe of blood and we'll add, whoop, making a mess here, add that. So we have some really good dripping going down April's arm. How's that feel?
Yeah, it feels nice.
Pretty good?
Yeah.
Good.
Nice and gross. Yeah.
One note about this thin blood, it does an excellent job of staining carpets and clothing. So if you're using this, I would just be wary of putting some sort of tarp or mat down. We've got a tarp on the ground here so I don't ruin the carpet at Nols headquarters. Okay, so that's our simple laceration. You could do this anywhere on the body, and if you wanted to go crazy, you could add more syringes of blood to make things look really, really exciting. So thanks for that one,
Yes,
April.
absolutely.
Okay, I'm just gonna dab right here. Okay, all right. So after our simple laceration, we're going to get a little more complicated, and now we're going to build an open fracture. So again, this is where a bone is sticking out of someone's body. So we'll use your other arm for this one. You can relax that one. Okay. So one of the things I need, which I forgot to mention earlier, is pre-wrap. This is, you can buy at any, again, like grocery store or pharmacy, and it has a little bit of stretch to it. And I'm going to start by wrapping this around April's arm, like so. And this is going to be the base for my open fracture. And then April, do you think you could hold that for me for a second?
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a stick or a wood chip, and I'm going to use my thick blood, and I'm going to dip my wood chip in the fake blood so I have a big gob on it. Can you all see that okay? Okay, great. And then I'm going to take my stick and I'm going to place it on the pre-wrap. And basically what the pre-wrap is doing is creating a little bit of cushioning so that the stick isn't pushing too hard into April's arm. And then I'm going to wrap the pre-wrap around the stick. Here, let's see if we go like that so folks can see. And I'm going to wrap this around a few times, and you'll see in a moment what we're about to do. Get excited. Okay, and I might actually take a little piece of tape just to hold my pre-wrap in place. Does that feel okay?
Yeah.
Not too tight?
No.
Great. Put that on here. Okay, great.
Okay.
And now the next step is I'm going to actually take my bruise wheel. So I'm pulling this out, opening up my bruise wheel, and I'm going to use my applicator sponge. And I'm going to get a few different colors here, and we're just going to come around where I put the stick in April's arm. And you'll see that okay. Heather, holler at me if you're hearing people can't see. Okay, okay, great. All right. How's that feeling?
Good.
Good, okay. All right. So we've got our pre-wrap, we've got our stick, we have our bruising on here. So the next thing we're actually going to do is rip the pre-wrap where we put the bloody end of the stick. I'm going to come down here and I'm going to tear it a little bit. And as I tear it, now you can see that bone starting to stick out. And I'm going to rip it just a tiny bit more. Oh yeah, look at how great that looks. So we've got bone sticking out of April's arm here. And to make this just look a little bit more special, I'm going to get my thin blood out again. I'm going to switch gloves really quick so I don't make a huge mess. Okay, you ready? We'll put a little more thin blood on there, April.
Yeah, doing good.
Great. Oh, rip my glove. Okay. We'll get some thin blood in here. And great. We'll bring this down. And I'm just going to add some more blood so that it's seeping down April's arm. That's looking pretty good. And now again, you can see we've got our bloody open wound with the bone sticking out and blood going everywhere. This is awesome on an arm. You can do it on a leg as well. You might want a little bit bigger of a wood chip and it'll take just a little more of the pre-wrap. But I think the whoa factor there is pretty good. What do you think, April?
This looks excellent.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, all right. Should we get a little more bloody?
Yeah.
You're gonna have to take a shower after this. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Okay, so we're going to start with just a head wound, and then we'll move into making a missing eyeball. Sorry.
That's okay.
Okay, all right. So to start our head wound, I'm going to use my bruise wheel again. And I like to get a variety of different colors just to make it look extra special. And I'm going to come by April's forehead here, and I'll add my bruise. And as I try not to just do one big dot of bruising, I try and sort of feather it out with my makeup sponge so that it looks a little bit more real. And it makes me feel like a real makeup artist. So that's also important.
You were.
Yeah, oh, thanks.
Yes.
All right, so I've got my bruise on April's head. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
And then to make this look a little extra special, I've got my thick blood here. And I'm going to use my sponge and get a little bit on the end. And then with this, I can just sort of dab around. Well, I'm getting in your hair, bud. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's
Okay.
all right.
I can use my sponge. And this allows you to get sort of a more real looking blood texture than if you were to just take your finger and smear it. That is an option. I could use my finger and just dab. But if you can get a little sponge like this, I'm just going to walk closer towards the camera. Nope. Okay, great. That has a little bit of give to it. That'll really allow you to get that wound looking extra real. Sorry, April.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
Hey, that's what we're here for.
All right. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to make April's eye disappear. And to do that, I need a few different things. Well, one, April, I made you a fake eyeball.
Okay, great.
Yeah, it's right here. I just took some athletic tape and wrapped it around itself. And made a little circle. So you can
Okay,
hold
I'll
that. There's
do that.
your eye.
Thanks.
It feels really gruesome, but it's just play for Halloween.
This is awesome.
Okay. So let's see. To cover up April's real eye, I have some moleskin here, which again you can get at grocery store or drugstore. It's commonly used for blister care, but in this case, we're going to use it for our makeup. And I took moleskin often comes sort of in these square rectangular pieces. And so I cut the edges off of this one so it's a little rounder. And then I took a second piece and I cut a little circle. And let's see, what I'm going to do is remove, whoop, thanks, Stuart. I'm going to remove the backing on the big one. And then with this smaller piece of moleskin, I'm going to remove this backing. You want to hold that for 1 second for me? Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to remove this piece of backing. And I'm going to place the circular one on the big piece of moleskin. This is just so there's not stickiness right over April's eye. So it'll make it a little more comfortable for her. And now what I'm going to do is take this whole piece and place it over April's eye. So we'll come like this. And I'm going to press. I might even have April. Do you want to press on that a little bit just so I'm not putting too much pressure on your eye? And get up high there too. It's nice to have the person you're moulaging help you with this part, just so you're not putting direct pressure right on their eye.
Okay, do you think that's good?
Yeah, that
Good
looks
for me.
That looks pretty great.
Okay.
Okay. So now I'm going to take my thick blood again. Okay. And I like to use my finger for this one. I'm going to get a big wad of fake blood and I'm going to smear it all on April's eye here. How's that feel?
I can't even feel it.
You can't feel it. Okay,
No.
good. Okay. And then I'm going to grab my makeup sponge and I'll get a little more here. Nice, that looks pretty great. Your poor hair, I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
All right, and now we've got that eyeball missing. And if I wanted to go a step further, I could take my thin blood syringe and spray April in the face here so that the blood is really dripping down her face. Since April has to go back to work after this, I'm not going to do that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But that can really add a nice dramatic effect to the missing eye. And if I wanted to spend a little bit more time, I could try and trim this little piece down here so it's not hanging over. But I think that looks pretty good, April. You look pretty gruesome.
Good.
Awesome. Okay. And yeah, now you've got your eye that you can hold on to. Yeah,
Okay.
you've got it right there.
Okay.
Awesome. So at this point, we've talked about the bloody head wound with a missing eyeball. We have our open bloody fracture, and then we had our just simple laceration. So pretty much with those tools, you can make a variety of different injuries. You can make people look pretty bloody for Halloween. And again, hopefully this is giving you some new tools for your toolbox. Yeah, for this Halloween in a few days. Awesome.
Nice.
Let's see, Heather, are there questions that are popping in or other things I can answer for you all?
I don't see any yet, but as a reminder, our chat is disabled. So if you have questions, pop them into the Q&A. One that I saw so far that I answered, but maybe you could review for the benefit of everyone again, is just how do you make that blood at home if you don't buy it?
Great. So if you take corn syrup and do like 3 parts corn syrup, 1 part water, and with like a whisk or a fork, mix that up pretty well. Then add some drops of red food coloring so that you get the desired color of blood that you're looking for and mix that in. And then use cocoa powder and add the cocoa powder, and that'll help thicken the blood up to your desired consistency. And if you were to Google like how to make your own blood at home, there are a variety of recipes out there, but that one should work. Or again, ordering. I was looking the other day, there's a lot of different types of fake blood that you can buy online. So any of those will work. I'm a big fan of this thicker blood. I think it's just a little bit easier to use to make a variety of wounds, and it stays in place a little bit better than our thin blood here, which is the blood I had in the syringe. It is awesome for making dramatic effects, but it runs pretty quickly. So if you're trying to do something with a little more depth and precision, a thicker blood is great. And if you were to make that at home, just keep adding cocoa powder until you get it to your desired thickness. Awesome.
Perfect.
What other questions are
Another
out there?
question I see is there a way that you can attach the fake eyeball so that it kind of looks like it's hanging out? Or
Yeah, you could totally, let's see, if I were to add some more tape to this, see if we can do this on the fly here. So I can add a little bit of extra tape. And what I would likely do is make like a little tape string like this, and then I could attach this to the moleskin. So I'd probably put it underneath as I was getting started, and that would allow the eyeball to hang down a little bit. So that's one way you could try.
perfect.
That's awesome.
Not every day you get asked at work how to, make a hanging
Fake
eyeball.
eyeball.
Yeah, pretty fun day today.
Yes, agreed.
Um, Another person asked, have you ever found that the Ben blood stains hair at all, especially if someone has a lighter colored hair?
I have not had experience with that, but I would, again, if I was using the thin blood, I might be a little more wary of soaking someone's hair with it. But usually a little bit, if you get in the shower and use some soap and water, it should come out.
And
Yeah,
do you have any recommendations in terms of removing the blood stains from people's clothes? Would you just avoid certain clothing? What would you?
I would. I would encourage you if you're playing with this to wear clothes you don't mind getting a little bit bloody. Um, and as you're applying stuff, to just be careful of how you're doing so. Using like a damp cloth and blotting is often more helpful than like pouring more water, which tends to make the blood just move around even more. So I would try and blot versus like pouring. And I try and just be really careful. Doing this outside is also a great idea.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
Um, Someone also asked if they were trying to show a burn, like a full thickness burn, what
Yep.
recommendations would you have for that?
Great. I love making burns. They're really fun. Some things you can do, you can take some Vaseline and put that on the skin in blobs, and that can help you make some blisters. And then if you take toilet paper and peel the toilet paper so that it's just one ply thick, and then put that toilet paper over the Vaseline, and then take a little dish soap, ideally like a clear dish soap, and pour that on top of the toilet paper. It makes it look like skin that's been burned and sort of coming off. And then to get really exciting, if you have some sort of blood powder, or we also have this charcoal powder, which is basically just like charcoal dust. And you can shake a little bit of this into the area that you're pretending is burned. It'll give it an effect like it's charred. So again, that's like Vaseline blobs, toilet paper single ply, some dish soap on top of that to get the toilet paper damp. That'll look like skin. And then again, you can use, I'd use a little bit of the red blood powder and the charcoal powder, and it'll give it a really good effect. So kind of fun. And yeah, I'd say experiment with that. And if you have other questions, you're welcome to email me about making burns.
Awesome. I think that's all of the questions that I see for now. So
Okay.
thank you so much. That was
Yeah.
wonderful. Thank you to everyone who came. And as a reminder, because I saw it entered in the Q&A again. These will be recorded. They are recorded, and the recordings will be shared to anyone who RSVP'd to these events. And it also will be added to our NOLS YouTube channel. Anything else you wanted to add, Robin, before we end today's webinar?
No, thanks so much for joining us. I hope everyone has a very happy Halloween and you're able to use some of these tips and tricks to make your costumes look really excellent this year.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, April.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, April. Bye.
Bye.